Hello again, as always it is me, Indah Melindasari from Wonderland Consulting. I have over 10 years experience as a migration agent and was once a migrant myself. Please click subscribe to get all the best Australian immigration content and updates. After Australia reopened its international border to all Australian visa holders that are fully vaccinated, there still have been several updates that have influenced the immigration news this month. We are now officially on the road to getting back to migration and arrival numbers pre-pandemic and stepping back to normality. Now let's get started with the latest immigration news for May 2022. Part 1. Update international borders and travel restrictions. Australian international travel health restriction discontinued. Part 2. Update for working visa. Australia. Age concessions for Visa 457 and visa extension for Visa 482, permanent residency requirements for short-term stream Visa 482 holders, South Australia migration update, skilled migration program opens. Okay, let's continue with part 1, update international borders and travel restrictions. Now to our first story. The Australian government has put in place certain health restrictions on Australian international travel since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. But this health restriction will lapse on 17th of April 2022, and the Australian government announced the discontinuation of the restriction as Australia moved towards living with COVID-19. So here are health restrictions that will be stopped. Mandatory pre-departure tests for travelers entering Australia, restriction on the entry of cruise vessels into and within Australian territory, and cross-gauging rules on rapid antigen tests. Some regulations will remain in place for Australian international travel. Those regulations are evidence of COVID-19 double vaccination, mandatory mask while on international flights based on medical advice. It means you must be a fully vaccinated traveler to enter Australia, and you must show the evidence unless you are exempted from COVID-19 vaccination due to your health condition. The current health restriction will lapse on the 17th of April 2022, which means that you will be able to travel to Australia as a fully vaccinated traveler within mandatory COVID-19 testing from the 18th of April. Alright, let's move to part 2, update for working visa Australia. The Australian government announced the omission of the age requirements to get the permanent residency for specific Visa 457 holders. Visa 457 has a permanent residency pathway either through applying for a Visa 186 or Visa 187. The age requirement for Visa 457 holders was below 50 years old when they lodged the Visa 186 application. Due to the struggles and the high labour demand in Australia, the Australian government decided to omit the age requirement in applying for a Visa 186 for certain Visa 457 holders. The certain Visa 457 holders are those who hold Visa 457 on or after 18 April 2017 and were in Australia for at least 12 months between the 1st February 2020 and the 14th December 2021. The new arrangement is applicable from the 1st of July. The Australian government also announced amendments for Visa 482 short-term stream. This is related to the current update from the Australian government that Visa 482 short-term stream will have a permanent residency pathway to Visa 186 from the 1st of July. Regarding the new permanent residency pathway, the Australian government amended the regulation on Visa 482 short-term stream that allows Visa 482 short-term stream holders to extend the visa onshore for the third time. This extra extension will now give you the chance to meet the requirement for employer nomination for a Visa 186 application. This will be applicable to you if you are in Australia as the holder of a TSS visa in the short-term stream for periods that total at least 12 months between the 1st February 2020 and the 14th December 2021, and you make that further application before 1st of July 2023 unless the department specifies a later date. Now you have a permanent residency pathway as a visa 457 holder if you previously were not able to meet the age requirement. It might have been a long wait for you to get the permanent residency pathway, but your time and patience has finally paid off. Also, as a visa 482 short-term stream holder, you have a chance to meet the requirement for the visa 186 application. This means you will be able to get your permanent residency as a visa 482 short-term stream holder. Talking about the update of permanent residency requirements for short-term stream visa 482 holders, the new regulation proposes expanding the chance for visa 482 short-term stream holders to get a permanent residency in Australia. Temporary skill shortage 482 visa or visa subclass 482 is one of the employer-sponsored schemes working visa in Australia. Visa 482 is a temporary visa with 3 different streams, namely short-term stream, medium-term, and the labor agreement stream. Generally, to be eligible for a visa 186 temporary resident transition, you must have at least 3 years of work experience as a visa on the 482 holder. The visa 482 holders with occupations in short-term skilled occupation lists do not have a direct permanent residency pathway like those who have their occupation under the medium long-term skilled short-term occupation list. With the new arrangement, visa 482 short-term stream holders can get permanent residency if they meet the eligibility criteria. To be eligible, the visa holders must meet the following requirements. Was granted a visa 457, which now has changed to visa 482 after the 18th of April 2017. Assisting visa 482 holders in the short-term stream, reside in Australia for a cumulative of at least 12 months between the 1st February 2020 and the 14th December 2021, be employed by a person actively and lawfully operating a business in Australia when the nomination application is made, must be working with the same employer for 3 years. The new regulation applies to a visa 186 temporary transition stream application made from the 1st of July 2022. The last update for Australian working visa is that South Australian government has opened the General Skilled Migration Program for 2021-2022, and the program is open for international graduate in South Australia, talent and innovators, onshore candidates and offshore candidates. If you're a skilled migrant who create opportunities and pathways for those who want to contribute to South Australia's priority growth industries, you are allowed to receive the state nomination. It is also applicable to the international graduate in South Australia. The international graduate may receive South Australia state nomination. Also, if it is specified, the international graduates must have worked in the nominated or closely related occupation for the last 3 months in South Australia. More great news for the international graduate in South Australia is that the graduates of South Australian education institutions will be entitled to receive bonus points when applying for either Subclass 491 or Subclass 190. Don't forget to check our education agent partner, Education One, for all your Australian study needs. You can find the contact information in the description below. Alright, let's move to Part 3. Other immigration and visa news. Part 3. The release of 2022-23 budget shows the trends of Australian migration for the coming year. In our last story today, this month, the Australian government released the 2022-23 budget, which is always an indicator of the Australian migration program will progress in coming year in terms of what visa programs will be prioritized and which will be scaled back. The clear trend from the budget this year is the focus will be shifted from the family and specifically partner migration to work visa programs in an effort to fill skills gap and labor shortage, particularly in rural areas of Australia. The migration planning level remains at 160,000 places, as it was the year before, different this year being the allocation of these places. Skilled visa stream will increase to 109,900 in the following program year, which means it will make up more than 2/3 of available places. The increase will be given to employer-sponsored visas and skilled visa such as the subclass 189, 190 and 491. The initial hope for business and investment streams along with the global talent programs seems to have faded as both saw a significant drop in places. The government will also invest more to continue the global business and talent task force. The global talent program still remains the fastest pathway to PR at the moment. This will further attract talented individuals and international investment to Australia. With the significant labor shortages in the hospitality and agriculture sector in mind, the working holiday visa makers places will increase by 11,000 in 2023 and 2022 and 2023. There are now numerous benefits in places to attract UK and Irish citizens, such as South Australia in cooperation with Qatar Airways, offering £10 flight to Adelaide to join the program. The age limit for Danish and Italian applicants will also be raised to 35 years old. Along with these changes, after reaching an agreement on a trade deal, there are also plans to include Indian citizens into the program in the future. Well, that's the roundup of all the changes and updates for May 2022. If you have any questions about how these changes may affect you or benefit you, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Leave a comment or questions and we will get back to you as soon as possible. You can find our contact details in the description and in the comments, so feel free to send an email or call with an inquiry, and our advisors will be there for all your visa needs. Wonderland Consulting is here to help you. As always, thank you for watching.